September 18th, 2023. We're sitting at our house in Chile, literally 2 days after paying off our booking on what we knew would be the trip of a lifetime, a Christmas cruise to Antarctica. I was looking at our blog analytics on my laptop, and I'm watching our traffic numbers plummet in real time.
It was like watching a heart monitor flatline. 95% of our income gone. Just gone.
And all I could think was, did we just book a $5,500 cruise with money we would now for sure need to live on?
We just want to travel the world, the world, the world, travel the world.
Welcome to Our Offbeat Life, where we share the real, unfiltered truth about living as digital nomads with kids. I'm Brodi.
And I'm David. And today we're talking about something that most nomad influencers will touch. What happens when the money runs out?
Let's rewind to late 2023. David, do you want to pick a picture of where we were?
So we're in Cusco, Peru. Our kid is thriving in his online school routine. We were staying near the city center, so we had access to everything. And our car is right next door in a secured lot, so we can even visit the Sacred Valley anytime we want.
And our family travel blog was absolutely crushing it. We were getting emails almost daily from families saying things like, your post about traveling with kids changed our entire trip. Or we would never have considered Malaysia as a family destination, and so on. It was so nice.
Yeah, I mean, the income was steady, not by a yacht money, but enough that we could easily breathe for the first time since the Chinese teaching market crashed in 2021.
Right, but the point is we weren't just surviving anymore. We were actually planning. I mean, remember that conversation we had about maybe, just maybe, splurging on that Antarctica cruise?
Yeah, you researched it for months. I mean, you had spreadsheets,
I looked at spreadsheets.
actual spreadsheets. You were comparing cabin sizes and excursion packages.
When you're about to spend more on one trip than some people spend on a car, you research. I mean, we were looking at spending more than we spent on our car. But here's the thing. For the first time in our nomad journey, it felt possible. Like, we were helping real families solve real travel problems. Google was sending us traffic, and the income was growing month over month. I mean, not exponentially, but it was enough for us to be happy.
It felt sustainable.
It did.
Like we finally figured out this whole make money while traveling puzzle.
Famous last words.
So, Brody, walk us through September 18th, 2023. What happened?
Yeah. So I'm doing my usual morning routine, coffee, check email, look at yesterday's blog stats, and I noticed our traffic was like weird, like really weird. Instead of, 15,000 visitors the day before, we had like maybe 1,500.
At first you thought it was a glitch, right?
Yeah, I was refreshing at Google Analytics, and I really thought that it was a reporting error. Like maybe the servers were having issues. But then I started seeing like posts and comments and discussion in some Facebook groups I'm in with some other bloggers. And it wasn't just like one or two people. Like every single blogger I know was losing almost all of their website traffic overnight. It was, I still don't have words for it.
Google just basically flipped a switch and decided independent travel blogs, the ones written by people who actually travel, weren't valuable anymore. I mean, that's not the line that they were saying, but
Oh, yeah. The helpful content update designed to help people find more helpful content than actual knowledgeable people. So instead, they started prioritizing massive corporate sites. Like suddenly, if you search the best family hotels in Thailand, instead of getting advice from someone who'd actually stayed there with their kids, you're going to get generic lists compiled by someone who'd never left their office in Manhattan.
Yeah,
Still.
sorry. Yeah, the irony was cruel. 2 days prior, we got the confirmation email that the Antarctic cruise was going through, you know? We'd finally pulled the trigger on this dream trip and paid for it in full right as our income evaporated.
Yeah. And at this point, we had traveled further south. We were house sitting in Puerto Varas, Chile, which is near Puerto Montt in Patagonia. And I remember sitting on our bed in that beautiful, spacious house, staring at the booking confirmation and just spiraling. Like, are we idiots? Like, should we cancel? Like, can we even afford this anymore?
But you know what? In that moment, something clicked for both of us.
What do you mean exactly, Lee?
Well, I mean, this wasn't our first rodeo with financial free falls, was it?
No, that's true. I remember feeling overwhelmed, but I mean, you were right. 2021, the great Chinese ESL teaching collapse. That sucks.
Yeah, that did. I mean, wow. Okay, so folks, picture 2021. We're in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. I'm teaching English online to Chinese students, making several $1,000s a month.
US dollars.
US dollars. Life is good. We're all learning Spanish. We're living a 20-minute walk to the beach.
And then the Chinese government basically banned all foreign English teachers pretty much overnight.
Not just my company, the entire industry. Tens of thousands of teachers globally suddenly unemployed. I went from 30 plus hours of classes per week to 0. Just like that.
I will never forget that moment. You looked up from your computer. I had just walked out and made coffee when you were finishing up your early morning teaching hours, and you looked up from your computer and you literally lost all the blood in your face and you looked like you had seen a ghost. Like, stuck like.
Yeah, because I kind of had. I mean, we had heard whispers of something happening, but hadn't received plenty of assurances from the company that all would be okay and that we weren't going anywhere, but they were wrong. My entire career gone. But here's the crazy part. Within 72 hours, we had a plan. Partly because of you.
Should I tell him about the pivot?
Yeah, let's bring up the pivot.
Can you talk about it?
Now, yeah, you know what? It's
I mean,
okay.
I can if you want me to, but
It's
I don't
okay.
want to steal your story.
Yeah. It's okay. I can talk about it now. We're going to shoot years. So I had this master's degree in instructional design just sitting there, right? Wasn't really using it. But I realized that all these unemployed ESL teachers were going to need new curriculum, new ways to teach. So instead of competing with thousands of teachers for the few remaining jobs out there, I started creating and selling lesson plans and teaching resources.
Right. So then I was talking to some of our friends who were also affected by this pretty devastating turn of events. And it turned out that some of them were planning to teach privately and they needed lessons to teach their students. But with so many teachers and all of them having students at different levels, it was impossible to keep up and create lessons fast enough to serve each individual student and still provide quality education at an affordable cost that people were actually willing to pay.
Right.
Like, what?
That's why we ended up banding together. And we created Teachers Together English, which is now over 700 lessons, a third of them created by yours truly.
Hey, I helped.
Yes, you did.
And so finally, I stopped making excuses about monetizing our travel content. And that crisis is what forced me to actually start treating our blog like a business instead of just a hobby. And I learned how to create even better content for our travel blog audience. So it was win there too.
So within 6 months, we were back to our previous income, different streams, same result.
So when Google nuked our traffic in 2023, and no, I am not just being dramatic, it was a nuke. We had this weird sense of like, not calm exactly, but familiarity. Like, oh, this again. Okay. What's next? Like, I felt so disgusted that I was familiar with that pit of dread in my stomach.
No, I get it. It's been a lot to take in. And over the years, we've realized that there are 3 pillars that make these pivots possible. So let's break it down for them.
All right. So, pillar 1, mindset. And look, I'm not going to blow sunshine here. When your income drops 95% in 24 hours, you're going to panic. I definitely panicked.
Yeah, definitely. Might be understated.
Okay. Fine. I had a meltdown. There were full-blown ugly tears. I'm pretty sure I put liquor in my coffee. But here's the thing. You have to let yourself feel it and then move through it, because that panic that you're feeling is actually information. It's telling you that something you care about is threatened, or in my case, your baby is dying. Like, it was horrible.
Tony, you'd put so much time and effort into that. I mean, I totally understand how anybody feels this way in a situation like that. So instead of staying in panic mode, though, we learn to ask, what is this situation trying to teach us? What opportunity is hiding in this crisis?
Exactly. But to be clear, I was still in panic mode and someone else was in fix it mode. So, like, don't worry if your panic takes longer than 72 hours.
If you're a couple, you can have somebody that has the calm head.
I know. And it's true. Every setback has forced us to upskill, to get creative. And I feel like overall we have become more resilient. The ESL crash taught you to really pursue curriculum design beyond your master's degree program. And the Google algorithm change pushed me into web development for clients. And we both stopped putting all of our eggs in one basket. So now we have several smaller buckets of income to pull from so that we still make enough to live on.
Which brings us to pillar 2, networking.
Yeah.
And I don't mean schmoozing at conferences, which I have a lot of familiarity with.
Why?
But I mean genuine relationships that you've built throughout your life.
Right. So when I transitioned into web design, my first 3 clients were people we'd met through our world schooling community or people we'd been friends with for a really long time. And they needed websites. I needed income. It was a win-win.
Same with the curriculum creation. I partnered with teachers whose skills complemented mine. None of us could have succeeded alone, but together we built something sustainable.
Yeah, but the key here is you can't wait until you need a network to start building it. Those relationships need to exist before the crisis hits.
Exactly. So pillar 3,
Yep.
strategy. Having systems and safety nets in place.
Yeah, and that was probably our biggest learning curve because early on we were living month to month, day to day, completely reactive. And now I feel like we're more intentional
For example?
in planning ahead. Yeah, that's true. So we always keep a running list of potential income streams we want to explore. So when we need to pivot, we're not starting from zero, we're accelerating plans or even just ideas that already exist.
Yeah. We also learn to build on existing skills rather than trying to master something completely new under pressure. I mean, every pivot that we've made has been adjacent to something that we already know how to do.
Right. So like we didn't pivot to like trading stocks or buying Bitcoin or like something we knew nothing about because the learning curve would be too steep. Transitioning to something related makes way more sense, I think.
It definitely did to us.
Yeah. So, and location strategy is huge too. When income drops, being in affordable places buys you time. Those months that we spent in Argentina and Mexico while we were rebuilding, those, like, that would have been impossible if we had been trying to do it from, say, Switzerland or New Zealand, which I love, but like, holy smokes, it's expensive there.
Yeah. So folks, you guys are probably wondering what happened with Antarctica. Can I bring it back a little bit? Did we actually make it?
Intentional loss. Not only did we make it, but that trip became the catalyst for our next evolution.
Yeah, it served as a huge sense of inspiration for us, both in creativity and since it was several weeks long, it gave us a chance to really think about where we were and what we wanted to do going forward.
Because there's no internet on the boat. I mean, there's not Wi-Fi in Antarctica, guys. So, you know, I was still working on our travel blog, hoping to find ways to bring it back, while Google kept rolling out different updates that kept hurting the content creation industry. And it's still doing that. So I had a difficult time. I mean, in some ways, I still am having a hard time, you know, pivoting away from the travel blog. It still exists, but it receives a lot less time and focus these days.
Yeah, that kind of makes me think, okay, tell them what Bethany told you.
Okay, so credit where credit is due. Our amazing, positive-minded travel friend, Bethany, kept talking to me about how much I helped her with her travel plans. And she was always amazed at how whenever she asked me a question about a travel situation, I always seemed to have an idea or thought that like blew her mind and made her see things in a new light. She was the one that actually floated the idea that I, you know, start a travel digital nomad family consulting gig. And side note, David interviewed Bethany in season 1 of the podcast. You really do need to listen to that episode because she's amazing. Okay, so I started getting messages from families who wanted help planning their own adventures, and not just blog posts they could read, but like actual personalized planning. So since then, I've worked with families like our friends, the Crawford family, who David interviewed on our podcast also, to help answer their questions and help them find their way in this lifestyle.
Light bulb moment.
True. So in 2025, on top of doing the consulting, I actually became a fully certified travel advisor through Fora Travel. So now I can actually book trips for families and not just write about them and help people plan their own. Because not everybody wants to plan their own.
No, they don't. And the website design, That work really started as a desperate pivot in 2024. That's become a thriving part of the business as well.
Yeah, I mean, it turns out that all those years of building and maintaining our own websites gave me skills I didn't even realize at first were marketable.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the beautiful irony in that, though, was that our current income is more diversified and stable than it's ever been.
Yep.
The crises forced us to build more resilient businesses.
Right, but here's what I want people to understand. This didn't happen overnight. You know, each pivot took months to gain momentum. There were weeks where we were living on savings, eating ramen noodles, and not the good kind in Japan, and house sitting just to keep costs down because we literally couldn't afford rent that month.
Yeah. Which is why having that location flexibility as nomads was actually our secret weapon. We could position ourselves in places where our dollars stretched further while we rebuilt.
Okay, so let's get practical then. Yeah, if you're listening to this and your income just tanked, here is your rapid response plan.
Step 1, breathe. Seriously, take a deep breath. Set a timer for 24 hours and don't make any major decisions until it goes off. Panic decisions are usually bad decisions.
Like that time you got downsized and you tried to sell our car back to the dealership on your way home.
I forgot about that. Yes.
So step 2, inventory your existing skills. Like not what you wish you knew, but what you can offer right now. Make an actual list. Everything you know, even a little bit, goes on the list.
And step 3, slash expenses without sacrificing joy. So can you house sit instead of paying rent? Move to a cheaper location. Cut subscription costs that you don't use.
Or
But-
even subscriptions you do.
Yeah.
Netflix.
But keep the things that maintain your mental health.
Sure. And step 4, activate your network. Post on social media, message friends, join Facebook groups, Discord servers. Let people know what you're offering and what kind of work you're seeking.
And step 5, launch one income experiment in the next 7 days. Just one. Something scrappy and quick. Offer a consultation, create a mini course, sell a service. Don't wait for perfect, just start.
Right. Some of the best advice I have gotten was that B- is good enough. People are still going to like it. The key, though, is momentum. Once you start moving, opportunities appear you couldn't see when you were standing still.
Exactly. So, stepping back from all of these specific stories, I think there's a bigger theme here about what adventure really means.
How?
Well, most people, they think that adventure is just the travel part
Yeah.
and the exotic locations, the Instagram-worthy sunsets. But
Great.
yeah, I mean, they're great. But actually, the biggest adventures have been these reinvention moments to look inward, that you didn't know things that you could do, you could be.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Like, standing at Machu Picchu was incredible. Having that llama photobomb us was like once in a lifetime. Like, transformativeness for the soul. But, like, in some ways, those nights in Mexico when we were completely rebuilding our business and hoping our apartment didn't get destroyed by a hurricane, seat time. I mean, in some ways, those were the things that filled me with a different sense of transformation and pride.
Yeah. Anyone with enough money can book a trip to an amazing place.
True.
But not everyone can lose 95% of their income.
Multiple times.
And that's not an exaggeration.
It's not.
And figure out how to not just survive, but thrive.
And I mean, here's what I think is funny. If you choose to live a nomadic life like ours, you're probably already comfortable with a fair amount of uncertainty. You know, you've already proven you can adapt just by changing locations every couple months.
Yep. So the same spirit that made you sell everything and hit the road, that's the same spirit that'll get you through financial setbacks.
It's all the same muscle. I mean, if you think about it, the willingness to color outside the lines, to try new things that might not work, you know, to, what do they say? Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yes. I had to learn that a long time ago in sales.
Great. So here's my question for everyone listening. If your income dropped in half tomorrow, what would you do?
And more importantly, what's one skill that you have right now that you're not monetizing? Because I guarantee you there is something.
Right. And we want to hear your stories. Send us a voice note, email us, hello@ouroffbeatlife.com. You know, tell us about your pivots, your setbacks, your comebacks.
Because here's what we've learned after our 6+ years of this lifestyle. The adventure isn't about avoiding failure.
Yep.
It's about getting really, really good at bouncing back.
Yeah. And every time you bounce back, you land a little higher than where you fell.
Exactly. So, well, everybody, thanks for listening to Our Offbeat Life.
If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember,
The adventure continues,
even when the bank balance dips.
especially when the bank balance dips.
So until next time, keep wandering
Keep wondering.
and keep reinventing.
Take care.
We just wanna see something bigger than us, to see and smell and taste something completely new. We just wanna travel the world, the world, the world, travel.